Well, good morning. How are you? This is the end of January in 2022, and I just wanted to share real short chats with Charlie. I've been thinking about the word inertia. Inertia. You know what inertia is. You've heard it used a lot, but just to clarify, inertia is a physics concept, can be related to people as well, but it's that a body in motion tends to stay in motion and a body at rest tends to stay at rest, and that is emotion. It stays in its current state. And as you know, DGR, desire plus goals equals results, and Maestro is all about setting goals and achieving goals, which means you have to break inertia. As you also know, I was a fighter pilot, and we broke inertia many, many times with an airplane. Now, there are two ways that people change. And if you're going to be setting goals, you're in the process of trying to change. And the two ways that people change is one is to have a significant emotional event, and the other is to make a decision and then to gradually work on it and work on it and work on it. And I'd like you to think about the work on it and work on it and work on it and becoming consistent in little things and how important that is in setting goals. It's those little things that make a difference. Now, there are many illustrations of inertia, and there are many illustrations that I could give. And what I'd like you to think, I'm sitting out here in the backyard, and it's beautiful gardens, and I see all these plants, and I think about how a plant grows. Over on that side of the yard, my son grew from an acorn, a little oak tree, and it's now over 15 feet tall. And it's only been a couple of years, maybe 3 years, 4 years, and it's growing like topsy, right? It's Quercus agrifolia, which is the live oak, and it's not the eastern oak, which is one single um, trunk. I remember a lot of white oak trees back where I was raised in New Jersey, and we had some in our yard, and they were one single big, beautiful trunk that was a white oak tree. These are the live oak, which you see along the coast of California and in the hills, in the foothills. It's a beautiful tree. A lot in Santa Barbara and Santa Ynez and that area that I'm real familiar with. But we have several actually that my son has grown, and in fact he loves oak trees so much that his son, my grandson, Sixton's middle name is Oak, Sixton Oak Rolander, and his second son is Soren Hawk Rolander. Kind of cool. So his license plate is Oak Hawk or Hoke Hawk. I think it's Oak Hawk is Nathan's license plate on one of his vehicles. But anyway, how do plants grow? They grow very, very slowly. And if you think about the root structure, you've all been, I know when I was a kid back in New Jersey, we'd go skipping along the sidewalk, and all of a sudden the cement of the sidewalk would be broken up. And you wonder, well, how in the world did that happen, that the cement broke up? And you had to be careful you didn't trip on it, right? Well, then you look again, and there's a tree right next to it, and the roots of the tree grew under the sidewalk, and then gradually, little by 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 little, they grew more and more and more, and ultimately they popped the sidewalk right up, right? And that's how goals are. If you will be consistent, I mean, if you want to think about somebody who's been consistent, Tom Brady supposedly is now going to retire finally after an amazing career as a quarterback in the NFL. And if you look at his routines and his disciplines, everything from what he ate, his exercise program, everything he did, he got to be a 44-year-old successful NFL player, which is a longevity record, as well as he has all kinds of records, as you know, Super Bowl rings, and it goes on and on. But it's because, in large measure, not only is he a gifted, talented guy, but he has been very disciplined and consistently worked on little goals, little short goals. If you want to lose weight, it's the little goals. It's not the big, I'm going to lose weight celebration thing. It's the little consistent goals every time you sit down there, every time you reach in the refrigerator, every time you do it. And that's how you gain weight. Well, I'll just have one more cookie. I'll have one more piece of cake. I'll have one more this, one more that, one more potato chip. And that's how you gain weight. That's how you lose weight. And that's how you achieve goals, little by little, consistently. So break inertia. And I mean, even what's really exciting is I keep going back to when I was flying, and you take the F-4, which I flew, and the F-4 is 53,000 pounds of steel. You have two jet engines, 34,000 pounds in full afterburner, 17 and 17 from each engine, right? 17,000 pounds of thrust. You start at zero, you release the brakes, and as you approach 150, 170, you can feel the airplane starting to get light on the ground, and then it lifts off. Keep the gear down until you get to about 220, 230. Throw the gear up, and then it gets a burst, and then you keep the engine still in full afterburner. You got to really be energetic to get the airplane off the ground. And so you have to have that full 34,000 pounds of thrust. You take it off, you build speed by not going up. You build speed, by the end of the runway, you're going 500 knots, right? Then you can rotate, you can rotate a little bit, or you can rotate and go totally vertical, whichever you want. And so if you go totally vertical, you're going to peter out before 20-some thousand feet, maybe 24,000 feet. You're going to have to do something, if nothing else, because air traffic control makes you register and sign in. But the point is, at altitude, once you get there, you can throttle back to about 87%, and you'll just, with inertia and thrust and momentum, you will just keep moving and cruising at a highly reduced power setting, highly reduced from that afterburner load that you took off with. And it's the same with you and I setting goals. We try and we do it at the beginning with everything we got. But then the consistency is just like the turbine on the airplane keeps turning. You have to keep consistently doing that little bit. And as you do more and more, little bit it becomes automatic. And then you can throttle back, you can go to 87%, and you can achieve your goals pretty easily. So just a thought for the day, think about inertia. So every time you look at a plant, relate it to your goals, and just that little bit, one leaf here, one leaf there, the root growing just an inch in a week or two, or however long it takes, and just little by little by little. Or if it's more your style, think about Tom Brady with his exercise routines and the consistency that he had that made him such a great athlete. Okay, anyway, just a food for thought. Think about inertia, think about goal setting. God bless, have a great one. Bye-bye.